Okay guys, for those of you that are online, do you want to run your audio setup wizard please? Because you will be able then to hear me and I'll be able to hear you. It's under tools at the top. Thanks. I'll be back on in a few minutes. I also turned the chat on guys so you can actually use it. Don't forget to click your hand to put your hand down. Hi everybody, I just want to make sure that you know to put your hand down by clicking on the hand, and also that you run your audio setup wizard so that you make sure that you can hear what I have to say. All right? And I'll just go and set the video and audio and I'll be right back on. Our class starts in 3 minutes. Okay guys, we're ready to get underway. Please make sure you have a pencil and paper at your desk because by the end of the class I'm going to give you homework. It's one question. So when you come into class the next day, there will be 4 questions on the last page and you'll be expected to have done 1 of them for homework. Okay? So I'm glad to see how many of you are on. All right, and if you guys can now focus back on the class so I don't have to turn off the chat in case people have questions for me, that would be awesome. So I can watch the chat, and if it gets too chatty, I'll just turn off your access. So, you know. All right, so we've been using estimation in class, and it's really important to use estimation when we're doing decimal multiplication and division so that we know whether our numbers are about right. So let's take a look at A here and use estimation to place the decimal. So does anybody have, using estimation, an explanation for where that might go? And if you do, if you could put up your hand, maybe we can get you talking. Rain, did you have an idea? Gurmal, let's try you. Let's see. Oh, some other hands are going up, Gurmo. You're going to lose your chance. Gurmo says after the 4. Zara, did you want to, who else put their hand up that actually wants to say something? Can somebody pop in and tell me what they think?
After the 4, because 17 times 5, it would be 34.
No. Okay, but let's take a look at what we're asking there. It's 17 divided by 5.
It's after the 3.
I've got to go close my classroom door because it's too noisy. Okay, that's better. What is that? I'm getting my exercise today. Okay, so we're using division right now. So we're thinking about using estimation. So who else wants to pop in and give us a chunk? It's okay, girl.
Is it after the 3?
It is after the 3. Why do you think so?
Because 17 divided by 5. Oh, my mic is dying.
That's okay. I can still hear you. Okay, so what he was saying was 17 divided by 5. So where we go from that is that the closest number to 17 that's divisible by 5 is 15, right? When we were talking about rounding today, and I'm going to use my pointer, if I can find it. Where's my hand? There it is. All right, so we're on this question right here. Now, when we talk about rounding, we're talking about whether 17 would be rounded to the nearest multiple of 5. So that there's one is 15 and one is 20. So is 17 closer to 15 or 20?
15.
Hi, Callum. It's closest to 15. So 15 divided by 5 would be 3. So we know that in this case we should probably put our decimal after the 3. Because if we don't, I got to get off yellow. Remember we was using yellow the other day? It stayed on there. This program has a great memory. So what we want to do is we want to put our decimal right there. Okay? 3.45. And that makes sense. So let's go to the next one. And if you can put all your hands down so that we'll get people that have actually put their hand up for this one. The next one is 90 divided by 8. So let's use some estimation to place that decimal. So do you want to try, Zach? Rain, are you even online? Hello, Rain. Hi, Kevin. So Rain, I need you to put your hand down, but I suspect you're away from the computer. Okay, so does anybody want to take a guess where the 90 divided by 8, where the decimal would go there? 90.72 divided by 8. Okay. If you can't talk, then put it in the chat. So I've got Zara saying that she knows. Oh, Callum and Shama both got the right answer. Anybody else? Haley? Yeah. Okay, between the final 1 and 3. I'm going to put it there and then we're going to talk about why. Well, let's think about 8 times 11 would be 88, which is closest to 90. So 90 divided by 8, we know that's bigger than 10. But 90 divided by 8 is not going to be 113. So we know there when we're using estimation that that's the best place to place it. I think until today in class, a bunch of people didn't recognize how important it was to be able to estimate. So we have 25.48 divided by 1. So where am I going to put the decimal in the answer? So Zara, Haley, sorry, who's that?
After the 25?
After the 25. Yep. That sounds like good. What do you think, Haley? Yep, Haley thought 25.48. Again, 25 divided by 1 would be 25. So when we're using estimation to place a decimal for division, it works the same way as multiplying. We round to the nearest convenient number, and then we do some math in our head to say, okay, it's around that, so that's where it goes. So the last one, 277.2 divided by 9. The best thing we can do there is like do 270 divided by 10. So what is the estimation going to give us? 270 divided by 10? Callum, thoughts on that? He's typing. He's typing. Okay, so we're on D, the very last one. So when we estimate, we say this is around 270 divided by 10. which would make the answer 27 if we did it in our head. So where am I going to place the decimal in this last equation? Well, Shama was right in there. Boy, she's faster than the speeding bullet. Jasmine. Gurmo says after the 3. Nav says 30.8. Lots of 30.8. 30.8. That's right. So we're going to place that after the 0. Now, 30 times 9 would be 270. So you know that when you're checking division, you do the opposite for multiplication to check. So you can see here that these are placing the decimal by just using estimation. Now, we didn't have to do a bunch of calculating, and that's awesome, because sometimes it's easy to do it this way. All right, so let's go on to the next page and see what we're up to. So we're going to do a problem together, and I'm going to show you how that works. So Rosa's family has a small storage shed with a floor that measures 3.72 meters squared. Now, you're all going to forgive me if my writing's terrible, right? So she's going to divide that floor into 4 equal sections. So I'm going to put the 4 here. And I'm going to put the 3.72 right in here. Decimal 72. Now, the thing you should know about decimals is that we always divide by a whole number. So like we made equivalent fractions, we make equivalent decimals. But in this case, we don't have to move it because we're dividing by a whole number. So what we're going to do before we do anything is we're going to put our decimal right into the answer. Can you guys all see I did that? So someone help me with the math here. Does 4 go into 3? Stephen says no. A bunch of people say no. It doesn't. So we remember what we do next in long division is now we do 37. So we move the 3 over and we do 37. How many times does 4 go into 37? Neva says 9. So we're going to put that there. Now remember, we do divide, and our next step is multiply. So we're going to do 9 times 4. Can someone give me that? Neva says 36. So we're going to put that in here, 36. So now we've done divide, multiply. Boy, my printing gets worse every time. I'm going to get better at this. I did last time I did these classes, but so far not so good. 37 minus 36. Lots of people saying 1. So I've done my subtraction. What do I do next is my step when I'm doing division. Divide, multiply, subtract, and Neela says bring down. Neela's a bright kid. So does Zach. Lots of people actually saying it. All right, so I'm going to bring that down, and now I've got 12. All right, so we can see that. How many times does 4 go into 12? We're going to do it divide. So lots of 3's coming up. Good, so we've divided, now we multiply, which is, I forgot to put the B up here. 4 times 3 is 12. And 12 take away 12 is 0, so there's nothing left over. So we're done this question. Now the nice thing about division when you're using decimals is that you just keep going. What if I wasn't finished there? What if I had something left over? What would I bring down? Does anybody know? Zero, says Sarah, and she's right, another 0. Because I can add as many zeros as I want. Remember that from when we had our class the other night? When we're writing decimals, after the 0, we can add as many decimals, after the decimal point, we can add as many decimals on the end of our number, and it doesn't change it. So for the example here, I could have divided 3.720, and it would have been the same thing. So if I have left over, I add zeros and bring them down until I don't. Most of the time, you're not going to do the division without a calculator. But in the easy ones like this, it shouldn't be too hard. Any questions about that? So we all remember that when we're doing long division, it's divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And so that is something that I can see some no's in there because I know that everybody hates that little thing. Let's do a gardening question. So Calvin has 2 brothers. Calvin and his 2 brothers are planting a garden. You can see him down there. He's wearing a big hat so he doesn't get sunstroke. Calvin wants to divide 8.6 kilograms of soil into 3 equal pails. And then he wants to put the compost into 3 bags. So why do you think you'd be dividing into 3? Any thoughts on that? Why is you going to divide it into 3? Oh, some thinking had to go on. No, he just wanted to divide it so that they'd all have 1. That's right, Zach. All right, so we're going to take our 8.6 kilograms of soil and divide it into 3 pails. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I want you to come along with me and do this on your paper, is I want you to write this down, 8.6 under, because that's the number that we're dividing, and the number we're dividing by is 3. And I bet yours is going to look way neater than mine. All right? Now, the first thing you're going to do is what? Before I do any math, what am I going to do? Any thoughts? I think Sanasi thinks I'm going to turn into a screen, but yes. I'm going to place a decimal in my answer, so I don't have to worry about it again. All right? So, we're going to start right there. Yep, you should write this down, Shalma. You should be working along with me so you can see how it goes. All right, so let's think about, and I'm going to write it across the top again. Here are our 4 steps to long division. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Now, we mostly know this from doing this in grade 4 and 5. Some of you even in grade 6 as a review. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Now, really with calculators nowadays, we don't always do the division this way because division is one of the harder things to do in math, but when it's easy, we can. So, 8 divided by 3. How many times does 3 go into 8? Nav's on there and Stella, a few people, they said 2, so that's my divide. Lots of 2's. Excellent. Now we do our multiply. 2 times 3. It is going to be, according to Luke, it is going to be 6. All right. Now we're going to do our subtract. What are we left with? 2. That's right. You're following along with this. So I'm going to bring down the 6. Now I'm going to run out of space, of course. 26 divided by 3. How many times does 3 go into 26? It goes in 8 times. All right. 8 times 3 is 24, says Neela. I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to go over next to mine again. And I'm going to have a 2. Next, I have to bring down something that's not there. So I'm going to bring down a 0. And it's going to go all the way to there. How many times does 3 go into 20? Oh, Haley's on it. 3 times 6, which is 18. Sorry, I did it the wrong way. I'm losing it. 18. When we subtract, what do we get? 2. So what's going to happen now when I keep going with this, if I bring down another 0? What's going to happen? The same. That's right. It's going to repeat. All right? So we know that it's going to be about 2.86 kilograms of soil equally in the pail. And it does make a difference. So it shouldn't be nothing. For those of you that are writing nothing, it makes it. So we could keep doing this equation now till the cows came home, and we would always get 6. So what we do is we put a dot right behind, this, or a dot over the, a line over the 6 to show that the 6 repeats. The other thing we can write it as is like this, 2.86. If I put another 6, now I can tell it's repeating. My printing's terrible. And now I just put dots behind. That lets people know that it's a repeating decimal and it's never going to change. Okay? So I'm going to erase this screen because we've got one more to do. If I remember how to erase. Oh, clear page. Yes. There we go. So we also know that Calvin wanted to divide 2.5 kilograms of compost into 3 small bags. So quickly on your page, I want you to write 2.5 divided by 3. And you do have homework now. You're going to have to wait, though, till 20 after to get it, okay? So 2.5 divided by 3. So we write it down, 2.5. And we're going to divide it by 3. Yeah. Tried to make my stroke a little smaller so my words, I wouldn't look so bad. All right. So we're going to use our divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. What's the first thing I'm going to do? Divide 2 by 3. Can I do it? Nope, says Gurmo, so I'm going to put a 0 there. Now the next thing I do is now I look at 25. What's 25 divided by 3? 8, says Stella. Now 8 times 3 is 24. So I'm going to subtract, I'm going to get 1. Now who can predict what's going to happen here? How many times does 3 go into 10? 3, says Mila. And 3 times 3 is 9. And 10 minus 9 is 1. So then I'm going to start bringing down zeros again, right? Remember, I've just got all these virtual zeros there. So I end up with another 10. So what's going to happen to my decimal? What's going to happen to that 3? The 3 is going to repeat. So I'm going to put a line over that to show people that the 3 is going to repeat. And it's going to repeat because I'm going to have 1 left over every time I do that. All right? Any questions about that? Repeating decimals are really an interesting thing. So this is basically what we're going to work on math on Friday. In math on Friday, we're going to work on dividing decimals. All right? So I want you to remember, divide, and if you haven't written this down on your paper yet, you probably should. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. There are 3 problems here. How many do you have to do? 1. So as soon as you've got it copied, if you have no questions, you can be offline. So Linda worked to earn $224.48. If she worked for 46 hours, how much money does Linda earn per hour? Who can tell me what the equation is that you would do there?
224.48 divided by 24.
It's divided by, but what is the number it's divided by?
24, because there's 24 hours in a day. Wait, no.
But she worked for 46 hours, right?
Yeah.
So we want to know how much she made each hour. Yep, and Gurmo had that, 224.48 divided by 46. So don't get thrown off by what the numbers are. We want to know how much she earned for every hour she worked, so that was 46 hours. Good. The next one, Ryan has $700.32. Skateboards cost $29 each. How many skateboards can Ryan buy? Now, this is a tricky one. What's tricky about it? Any thoughts on that? Well, I would think you're probably going to get a decimal answer. Answer me this. Can you buy part of a skateboard? Stephen and Neela think that you can't. Well, you can buy parts, but you can't buy part of a skateboard. So if I can get 211.6 skateboards, how many can I actually buy? Yeah, you have to round off the number. And Stephen says 211. Kinley says, great, lots. That's true. The reason that it is 211 and not more is because I don't have enough money to buy the 212th one. There's my face, just so you know that I am still sitting at my desk. And you can see it's today. Last question was, Mrs. Fair has $59 to buy hydrangea plants. When I made this up, I was actually doing that. If each plant costs $4.99, how many can she buy? Now this one's tricky. I wouldn't take this one unless you know what you're doing. Because in this one, and I just want you to stay on for one more minute, I've got you at 420, is this. When I do my $59, I'm going to write it here. And I've got to divide by $4.99. Now what did we say about the number you're dividing by? It has to be a whole number, says Stephen. So I have to actually move my decimal over twice to get this to be 499. Now, I have to do the same thing to this. Otherwise, it's not right. So now, I'm going to put the decimal right here, and then I'm going to do the math. 499 into 5,900. Now, if you don't get that, that's okay. We'll go over it in class on Friday. I'll do this little review before we start. So on Friday morning when you come in, I want to see that you've got one of these questions done. Any questions for me? Guys, if you're getting this video, you can stop listening now because I'm not going to do anything more. I'm just going to stay on, and if people have questions, I'm going to answer them. It's also not so that you know, you start the video recording starts when I sign on, which is usually about 10:02. So you usually have to slide about 10 minutes into the video before you actually hear my beautiful voice. And I know that some of you feel bad when you can't. So there you go. All right, guys. So once you've got your question copy down, feel free to sign out because remember, I'm not going to be able to get the recording until you're all signed off. Rain, did you ever come to class? Bye, Erica. I can sign you off, Tanasi. Bye, Tavin. Bye, Mackenzie. I know. Bye, Zach. Bye, Ethan. Bye, Manreet. How do you watch it on the phone? Go to YouTube and look up my name. Yes, we can play a game at PE. Bye, guys. You want me to sign you off? Okay, I'll do that, Tanasi. Thanks. You can also just go up into the top. Just click on you once. Go here and remove. Bye, Tanasi. Bye, gone. You're going. I can sit here and make faces at you guys if you want. I'm not going to turn the video off now, though, and I'll leave it on until you're all signed off. So sign off as soon as you're done, please. Bye, Lexi. Bye. Bye, Kaden. No, you leave the decimal in and you just transfer it right into the answer there. So if I'm doing that one, I'm going to write it down like this, 224. And you can just, I will get better, guys. It's just, it takes me a bit for this because it's hard to work with. I'm using my touchpad on my computer. And the problem with using a stylus and a tablet is that it doesn't work. So it would be 224.48 divided by 46. So we're dividing by a whole full number. So now all we have to do is put the decimal in the answer and then do the math. So the first thing would be 46 doesn't go into 22, but it goes into 224. So how many times? And you go from there. Bye, Jasmine. Bye, Vienna. Have a good night.